got an axe here, and I've got a big problem. It's loosened up. I had an overstrike a while ago, and I removed a little of the material with a rasp, and so it's a little lower. So I could bring it down. I could remove the wedge, and I could bring it down. I have the extra space, but I want to try something new. I want to see if you guys have tried this, because I've heard of it, but I've never tried it. The first thing we want to do is make sure this thing is seated. So all that dust. You might hear some noise in the background. That's because there was a little bit of a sump pump failure, a little bit of flooding, and so I'm running a fan. And that's how it goes. So we have to decide how big the drill bit is going to be. How big is the dowel? Am I going to just hit the wedge? Because if I have to re-wedge this, I don't want to take too much of the tongue away. So we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll do a little bit oversized, just to really test this theory that it'll spread this bad boy out without cracking it like a step wedge might. I've decided on this kind of a big drill bit. I'll show you how wide it is compared to the wedge. It's a little bit wider. My movement is from front to back. It's not from side to side, which is what the wedge takes up most of the time. I'm gonna go right here. Okay, that might be a little better for you. Sorry about the light. Let's go 1/2 inch. So I can already tell I did not do this straight at all. So that's 1/4 inch. That's 1/2 inch. So I missed. I missed big time. But that doesn't matter. This is about testing how well this dowel works when it comes to fixing up a loose axe. Trying to make sure I get everything out. Okay, now let's make the dowel. I didn't find a dowel, but I'm going to use hickory because this is going to be really hard and it won't squish as much. Hopefully it'll move the other woods that are softer. All you got to do is drill into the piece of wood, and then you just carve up to that, and that'll make like those wooden nails that I use for my vise bench. So let's go to the vise bench and let's make some. I only did one side. Okay. But it does need to expand. It does need to taper quick enough where it tightens before it hits the bottom of that hole. So now I'm going to be a little careful. We're just getting rid of that overhang where the end of the drilled hole is. I'm just going to cut this off so I have a nice end to hit. Okay, so we got our dowel. It's not perfect. I cut off a little bit so there's no divot in there, and it's just so I could have more thickness, hopefully. Let's give it a go. Feels a little loose. Let's see how deep this goes before I even punch it in. I think that's too much. So let's cut off a little more, and I'll be right back. Okay, now we got a little resistance. Let's jam it in and we'll see what happens. This is really this is really imperfect. I just want to see how much you can get away with here. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's almost going to act like a drift. When I punch this in, it's going to drive the handle out. So let's try to be smart about this. We'll put it on the ground. So I'm noticing it's kind of hard to put this in and for it to stay there. That's how uneven that job I did was. Oh, look at that. It cracked. Wow. It cracked the wood. So it's very possible this does the same thing as a step wedge. Can you see that? Cracked on both sides. Let's keep jamming it in. I can already see that it's very imperfect. There's actually space on the side, but really all we needed was space to be filled up front and up and in the back. All right. I think if I were to do this again, I would just drill further down because this handle cracked a long time ago. You can even see it a little bit now. You can see the crack right here. So this is, you know, I don't really mind messing with this too much. It also had that overstrike. You can kind of see the wood is in there now because I slammed this down to tighten it up. So what did it do? Wow, that really moved that wood. If this tells me anything, it tells me that it squished the front and the back like this. So that's a good thing. I'd say it's a good thing. Maybe we'll do a couple more hits. I'm just like playing with it. It's not loose at all, which is a good sign. But bottoming out could have definitely cracked it as well. Okay, let's cut this off and we'll see what it looks like. All right. Gotta raise this bad boy. Interesting. Very interesting. I'd call this a hack job, but I think that it's tight. We're gonna have to test that though. And you know, you could glue this, but if you did glue your wedge, then your wedge is stuck in there. So let's go test this real quick, see if it holds up. That didn't move. That did not move at all. That didn't move. Let's just do the final, you know, you put it in the stump and wiggle it. So I think I see a little wiggle, but I think that's due to the front needing to be it needed to go lower because the front is missing some material. So I think this is a success. It's ugly, but if all you had was a drill bit, no step wedge, and you had a piece of wood, maybe this is a solution. And you know, getting out metal wedges, they kind of suck. You could just drill this out with the same exact drill and release this. Now, I'd probably say make the dowel as thick as your wedge and really make sure you center it. I was just doing this quick as a proof of concept.